It's the one and only Booker T. Booker,
What
thank you
up?
so much for the time and truly appreciate you giving it to us. Thank you.
No, thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
First
Book,
and
when I
foremost,
called you the other day, I said that, hey man, it's Black History Month, and we wanted to honor you on Busted Open. You right away said, hey man, anytime.
Hey, man.
Like you let me know when, you let me know where, and I'm gonna be there. And I want to let you know I appreciate you donating your time to us and here on SiriusXM. But I want to give you your flowers. That's like kind of the theme of our show. When we give people their accolades, we give them their flowers. And I was mentioning in the like when you were signing on that that I learned a lot from you, and you always talked about timing and being in the right place at the right time. And if it's too fast, they won't get it. If it's too slow, they lose interest.
Yeah, yeah.
Who taught you that? And um, is that one of the top things that you start with your talent, or is that's something that you give to more of the advanced kids?
It's crazy. I teach my students, I try to teach them how to be professionals from day one. I say, there's no wrong way of doing this as long as you do it right. You don't have to actually know. No, I say you don't actually have to know how to do this, but you got to act like you know how to do it and act like you know how to do it very well. So I try to put those thoughts in their head to make them believe in themselves more than anything. But I think for me, it was a gradual thing, man. I think I learned so much in my early stages, but throughout my career, I got a chance to work around so many different talent and so many mentors, and I learned a little bit from each one of them. And I tell people all the time, I wasn't my best form of Booker T was when I was like 40. And that's when I had all the knowledge in my head to where I could go out and do it thinkless, but it is one of those things to where the psychology is not about the wrestling. It's not about the moves. Teach my students is what you do before the move and what you do after the move is what actually makes the move. So I got, so many, Booker T-isms in my head. I try to relate to my students and try to make them get it because one may hear it one way and another student may hear it totally different. So you got to try to, be able to relate to all of them.
Booker, when I look at your career, and I was talking about it with Mark before, so many times in your career, and listen, it's hard to say this because you're a Hall of Famer, but I also felt like there were times in your career where you could have been the face of the company. I've seen that in WCW. I saw that in the WWE as well. Talk about the culture when you first started in pro wrestling as an African American. And it's I know it's hard to explain this to a lot of younger listeners, but these are things that are happening in our lifetime as adult males. Like, how difficult was it in the pro wrestling culture as an African American?
Honestly, of course it's difficult. Everything's difficult. Nothing's given to you or anything like that. But I tried to learn from, the guys that came before me. I watched Ernie Ladd, the way he was so respected in the business as a black man, as being like the first black promoter, first black booker, stuff like that. That right there, that made me look at him, and go, wow, and then I look at the guys that came before me that made the mistakes, that it wasn't their talent or anything like that. It was the mistakes that they made along the way, falling in those potholes, because, honestly, we've never been able to do it like them. We might get one chance, they may get three chances. It was like that. When I came up, I got a chance to work with one of the best workers, in WCW's history, Two Cold Scorpio, and it wasn't his talent that got him kicked out. You know what I mean? It was those mistakes, because he was one of the greatest and still is to this day, one of the greatest workers of all times. I tried to make sure, like the Brickhouse Browns of the world, the Butch Reeds, the Ron Simmons, who I learned so much from, and how Ron carried himself and how Ron was so respected in this business. And I wanted to be like Ron. Ron was one of my main mentors. When I got in WCW, he schooled me, and I got stories that I cannot even tell on this show at all. But Ron Simmons was a guy that taught me so much about this business. And I was talking to MVP about, maybe 6 years ago, and he was at my school, and he goes, man, this is the first time I ever saw you in a pair of jeans, because none of the boys ever saw me in a pair of jeans. I don't think Mark ever saw me in a pair of jeans, back in the day, because
Suits or wrestling gear?
now I had to respect myself in order for everybody else to respect me. And then I had to go in the ring and prove it from that aspect as well. So it was work for me all the time, because I was thinking about, just like we're talking about Black History Month right now, I was thinking about those young Black guys that was going to have to come up after me. And hopefully I gave them some sort of a blueprint to actually be able to go by making it to that next level.
But you've had success in tag wrestling to the ultimate level, and you've had singles success at the ultimate level. You have a wrestling school, you have a wrestling organization that you own, that you are the sole proprietor of, that so many hundreds of wrestlers that you've given wisdom and knowledge to be able to go and make that money on their own. I think that that's enough to be in the Mount Rushmore of pro wrestling? Like, do you feel like, well, I know you, so I know what the answer is going to be. Do you feel like I deserve to be in the top four?
Man, you know me, Mark. I don't think like that, man. I just don't. People might think I'm that guy that believe in my own press clippings or anything. I don't even watch any of my own matches or anything like that. Just because, man, I got so much more work still yet to be done. The wrestling thing was great. And I always tell my students, and just people in general, I didn't get into wrestling to win the title. I just want to be the best in the locker room. I want to be the best guy on the roster, man. I want to go out and deliver the best matches every time. And I tell them championships just come along with that. That's just part of it. You can't get around that. My dad used to say, cream rise to the top. So I always just went out and performed, man. I don't think about the Rushmore. That's for other people to think about, I know a lot of times, honestly, I know a lot of times I don't get my just due, because a lot of times forget how good of a wrestler I was, because I was a really good entertainer at the same time.
And we talk about that on this show all the time, not on Black History Month. We talk about it all the time, that there are smooth wrestlers, well-polished workers, and usually those guys are not famous. Those guys are usually not good entertainers.
Yeah.
They for whatever reason, there's only a few Randy Ortons and Booker T's, guys that can work. You hear me? When I say work, I mean, fuck, you don't need a script. Turn the lights on and play the music and let them go.
I always say I never, in all of my years of wrestling, I never went to the guys and say, hey, man, I got this idea. I never did that once. I never went to, the guys and say, hey, man, you think I could do this angle with this guy? I never did that. I always wanted the script. I wanted it raw. And I didn't care what it was. I really didn't care. I really didn't care what it was. I didn't care if it was working with Goldie, doing like some of the stupidest stuff in the world, or fighting Stone Cold Steve Austin in the grocery store. I did not care. I just wanted to make that script the best I possibly could every night. And, that's the way I've always looked at wrestling, is to be embellished to what we want it to be. But inside that square circle, it was always one way. Going out there and, beat down. Somebody's about to get hurt. It's going to be a fight tonight, and the fans are going to feel it. Some sweat's going to fly. So I loved it, man. I loved every aspect of the game.
Book, you want to tell the story about how you almost killed me?
Which one is that? You tell
Look, Dave, this fool. We in Austin, Texas, and I'm in my hometown, man, and it's a Christmas deal. I'm Santa Claus, all this stuff. We go out and have the match, and I'm giving it to him. And Booker goes under the ring and pulls out a fire extinguisher and
Oh,
hits
yeah.
me in the head. I go down and I'm looking around, and when I turn around, he has pulled the pin out of the fire extinguisher. And it's one of those, like there's different kinds of fire
Oh my
extinguishers.
God.
There's one that has like a liquid gel in it. And
Mm-hmm.
then they got the one that's got the foam that eats oxygen. So he's spraying it directly in my face. I can't breathe. And he's spraying it.
Mark.
And he's spraying it. And it's going all over the arena now. And I'm on the ground going, like, I can't breathe. So now I'm swimming. I go under the ring to get away from him. I had to get away, Dave.
Oh my God, man.
Hey, man, when it was all over with, it was funny. But at the moment, oh my God, I couldn't breathe.
I tell you, man, that was the best time though, man.
We had
oh,
a lot of fun
we
though.
had a lot of fun, but I always think that was like one of the coolest eras because so many of the guys were great, such great performers. And they went out there every night and they gave those fans everything that they could ask for. And they left those arenas, man, literally can't wait to get back to the next arena. So for me, I had my career, I wouldn't change one thing in my whole wrestling career other than my mother not being here to see.
Mm.
Booker, and I said this on the show today, but I also mentioned it on the show yesterday with Tommy and Bully. I feel like NXT is the best when it comes to character development and storylines. Like, I don't think there's any other wrestling show during the course of the week that does a better job than NXT on Tuesday nights. And even though it's a quote unquote developmental show, the character development is outstanding. Everybody on that roster has a purpose on that show. Do you agree with that? And how rewarding is it to you to see a student like as example, Roxanne Perez excel, on the microphone, in the ring, that's somebody that's, that you mentored?
She's definitely working on her acting skills, and Shawn Michaels is definitely doing a hell of a job down there working with those guys, working with that young talent, trying to, and I always say, you have to have been in the game. If you wasn't in the game, you was on the bench, watching the team win the ring, but you was there, you soaked in that knowledge. But Shawn Michaels, he worked at that next level, and I think what really makes it work also, and I think it proves something that a smaller crew, as far as brains in the room, the ideas may be a whole lot more crisp, a whole lot more clear. We can do a whole lot more work opposed to having 20 guys in the room trying to come up with ideas. And I think that may be as well as that NIL talent that's coming in. We've gotten a lot of good talent, coming in, the Soul Rukas of the world, So I think it's a mixture, as well as the independent guys that's coming in as well. So I'm loving every bit of what's going on in NXT. I'll be back. I'm on Tuesday, and I can't wait to get back.
Yeah, and Booker, by the way, it's good to see you back. I hope you're feeling well. We missed you. Though Byron Saxon did actually a pretty good job filling in.
Come on, man.
He did a good
Man.
job the last
Stop
couple
it, Dave.
weeks.
The kid
I know it's Black History Month and everything, but don't be giving Byron.
No, man. They ate him up on Twitter, man. They ate him up on Twitter. I can't wait to, get back just to give him a little bit of relief. The kid probably want to kill himself right now.
But you said something, Booker. You really kind of opened my eyes in a lot of ways, because I was actually having this conversation with Lars yesterday, and the fact that I love music and I love guitar playing and I love guitarists and I respect that instrument of the guitar, and I'm a fan. But I don't know how to play it. Like, you could put it, as much as I've listened to music all my life, you put a guitar in my hand, it's going to sound like shit.
Yeah.
Like, you do need people that are in the know to kind of show you the way on how to do this, because being a fan and watching it your whole life isn't going to be enough. You really have to learn from the experts that have been there and have done that.
That's what's really, really cool for me being in NXT. I got so many students down there, so many young pupils that they come and pick my brain on a regular basis. And now with reality of wrestling, I'm bringing in NXT talent, to the show. Javi Albernal, he's going to be coming in for my next show. And to be able to work with these guys up close and personal, like Trick Williams, it's so freaking.
Yeah.
No, I mean, oh yeah,
Come
man.
on.
You know what I mean? It's so.
Mhm.
I like it. No,
I
to
like
be
it.
to be able to work with these guys, man, and give them a little bit of something. It's very, very small. It's like, Braun Breaker, when he come out, I always say no bread, no water, just meat. Tiffany Stratton, when I see her, I say, man, she's going past the stars, past the moon, straight to the nebula, baby. So to be able to, JD McDonough, that #1 stunner, man, to be able to bring that kind of stuff to the table and make these guys feel so good about themselves. That's what I've had my run. It was great, man. It was great. It was beautiful. But I so love seeing these young guys break through and get to the next level and get a chance to do what I did. Go around the world, see it. It's awesome, man. It really is.
And
That
oh,
Go
I'm
ahead,
sorry,
Dave.
Mark, but I have to jump in really quick because I do owe Booker an apology. So I'm glad I have this opportunity because I do have to apologize to Booker. I did Halloween Havoc. I did the pre-show for Halloween Havoc, and we're in kind of like the green room at the Performance Center before the show is about to start. It's me and it's Sam Roberts and
You didn't
Booker
drink
was
his
sitting at.
Red Bull, did you?
No, no. But I had never been in that situation before. I mean, I've done this radio show, for 15 years and I performed in front of people, but I have never been in that role, doing the pre-show on a show like that. And I must have asked you like 100 questions in that 1 hour where like when I left after I did it, Mark, I was like, oh my God, I must have annoyed the hell out of
No,
that man
brother.
because I
No,
must
but
have asked like 100 questions. But what
you
it
know
did
what?
though, what it did is it made me feel easy. Like the advice you gave me, I went out there and I went from being somebody who was nervous to being somebody that was like, all right, comfortable and
You could
understand.
do this. You could do this.
Yeah, like
Nah, bro.
and you probably didn't even notice that you did it,
You know what?
but
I notice what I do all the time. My mother always taught me it doesn't cost you anything to be nice to people and help people out. That's even with my school. We've had our school now almost 20 years, and we help so many young people. And my wife and I, we don't really even know why we do it, but God bless us every single day. Blesses us every single day. So if I can help you in
Amen.
any way, man, that's the least I could do. That's the least I can do. And I think more people need to you know, need to think that way because I mean we are, in Black History Month, and I think about I was 3 years old when MLK was assassinated, and I remember the I Have a Dream speech, and I can only imagine how he would feel right now with the division with between black and white, and it's like we've taken such a step back, and it's like I don't even know why, and I know a lot of it is social media. I know a lot of it is propaganda. I know it may not even be the largest of the contingency, but we got to be able to find a way back to, just caring about each other and trying to help each other because the thing is, we ain't going nowhere. Ain't nobody going nowhere. You know what I mean? So we got to be able to come together and fix that problem.
yeah, I always and I was having this conversation with a friend and I said, man, it feels like the last few years when it comes to race relations that we've taken a big step back. And he kind of corrected me and said, no, it's more of like it was well hidden and now it's out there. And
Yeah.
do you agree with that?
Well, I think it was well hidden, but I think we've taken a step back as well because perhaps we were on the right track, and then something, perhaps, guided us in that way to where people, want to, just I don't know, be totally negative towards each other and just can't even sit down and have a conversation. That's the part that I don't understand. Your views got to be wrong and my views got to be right. It's just such a division. And me personally, it's definitely I don't want to even come on you guys' platform and try to throw blame or anything like that. But I do know it's a problem we got to fix. It really is.
Yeah.
Well, and Booker, it's pretty much simplified in a way that my opinion about certain things may be different about with when it comes to your opinions about certain things, but that's how you can learn. You and I can have we don't need to agree, but you and I can have a conversation, and I can come out of that conversation saying, you know what, he made a couple of points that before I didn't agree with, but now I kind of agree with it. It just feels like now it's like, even as something as stupid as like Coke and Pepsi. Like, boy, if you like Coke and don't like Pepsi, you're an idiot. And I don't want anything to. It
Well,
sounds stupid,
it's
but
like
that's what it
it's
is.
just like the the tribalism with AEW and WWE. It's like, guys, it's wrestling. I mean, you're supposed to be getting out and having a good time and coming and watch a great show, but you got those negative ones that want to get on and compare and talk about and just make and spew. It just for me, I don't know what the answer is. I mean, but I'm not gonna be in the closet and not talk about issues like that just because I know.
Look, I really think that we just like you said, that tribalism and judgment, we have to do less judgment and more helping, and realize that we all human and that we need to look out for each other because we share the planet. And we can't let politics get in the way. We can't let our pro wrestling affiliations get in the way. Like, there's stuff that just comes down to, is it right?
Yeah.
And you just have to do right. And
It's I try my best to stay off of social media and stuff like that. And then when I do see a negative post about me, like on my account, I'll block them. But it's just like people want to follow you to say negative comments about you, and they don't
yeah,
even know you, and they don't even know you. And because me personally, I know what kind of person I am. I know I'm a good person. I've had my faults. You know what I mean? I'm not a saint or anything like that. But I know I try to help people, and I want people to do well. If anybody's making some money, I'm gonna be rooting for them 100%. But just like, say, for instance, I make a comment about Bianca Belair. I made a comment about Bianca Belair one time, and I said, um, not Bianca Belair, I think it was Naomi. And I said, man, Naomi's the best athlete in the locker room. I mean, she's got more athletic skills than everybody in the locker room. I say, but there's a couple of things missing that she got to work on. And that was like 5 years ago or something like that. And Black Twitter came after me so bad because I was trying to help her. And I go, wow, they don't even get it. I'm not going to, say what those things are. Maybe I want her to call me and, we could talk about it. And and boom, then we
but
can
you
get the.
wouldn't have no problem with Naomi, book, because she understands that in our industry, it takes more than athleticism. She
Yes.
understands that it takes more than personality.
Yeah.
Think about all the people that we've known in our lives that have so much personality. I mean, man, like overflowing. They still had success.
Yeah.
If they would have been athletes,
Oh my
oh
God.
my God.
Yeah. Yeah.
So like the people that matter, no. It's the guy that's in his mama's basement that, is 40 years old. And I still play action figures with my son. But there's some guys that's playing action figures by themselves at 45, and then I
Yeah.
got
Yeah.
problems. I
Yeah.
got a problem with you, bro. And you need to get out and go get some fresh air. Like, that guy can't judge me. You're not allowed. You're not allowed to mention Mark Henry and his level of success
Yeah.
or his level of failure.
But the thing is, with social media these days, they can do it anyway. And the thing is,
And they do.
and they do. And the thing is, they don't know you. They've never had an interaction with you one time. And probably if they did have an interaction with you, they would leave saying the same thing most people say. Man, Mark was the coolest dude I ever met, ever out there, man. I mean, you're not going to be the nicer guy. And the same thing with me. Every time I go do an autograph signing, I don't care if it's 5 hours, I'll stand up that whole 5 hours just to make sure everybody get an experience.
Me
Because
too.
just because the wrestling fans, it's not my experience, it's theirs. I'm going to make sure they get the ultimate experience every time. So I just think people need to really come down off the hate and the negativity in this world and try to do something with their lives.
Wow.
And Booker, you probably won't remember that interaction with the fan, but that fan will remember it for the rest of their life. So that few seconds that you give them, they'll remember forever, and you'll have a fan for life. And also the other thing too, going back to that tweet, like, it's okay. Criticism's okay. Constructive criticism is good. That's how you get better. That's how you learn.
I wish, like that they could really understand that, because I know that's how I got better. It's like my students. Sometimes I'm the nicest guy in the world, but sometimes I'm not the nicest guy in the world, because I'm a mentor, I'm a teacher, I'm a leader, I'm a general. And just think, I tell my students, I say, do you think that, when a general is in the trenches, you think he's whispering? I say, you think the coach on the sideline, when he's barking orders, I say, do you think he's whispering? No, he ain't whispering.
As a coach, as a mentor, as a teacher, I know you're going to agree with this. You coach and you teach people differently about their aptitude and by their level of, can I push this person a little more than I know who I can push and I know who I can't. And as a coach, as a teacher, you got to know these things and be qualified to do that. And you know that by experience. When somebody from the outside, see, like my son and my daughter, way different. I could tell Jacob, I need you to do this. And, I don't want you to get an attitude when I tell you this, because he takes an attitude sometimes to me telling him things. I could tell my daughter, stop being a baby and go and do it. Oh, I'm a baby? I'm a baby? Okay, watch this. Because she's tougher and meaner.
Yeah.
So I coach her meaner.
Mm-hmm.
And people will see me and they go, man, she's just a little girl. I said, she'll eat your face off.
Yeah.
She's a monster.
I got this one student. I want to give him a shout out. His name is Ryan Davidson. He's the Texas champion with reality wrestling. And we did a show in Louisiana one time, and he went out there and he didn't do as great as I thought he was, because he was my general that night. He was my leader that night for reality wrestling. And he went down and kind of like crapped the bed a little bit. And I went off on him so bad, man. He goes, "But why do you hate me so much?"
Oh, no.
And I go, "Come on, man." I'm like, "Come on, I don't hate you, man." I'm like, "If I hated you, you wouldn't be here, And that was literally like 5 years ago. Ryan Davidson, he just made his first tour to Japan. And he went over and did such a heck of a job and represented reality of wrestling. And he knows exactly why I stayed on him now all of that time. He knows exactly why I barked in his ear all of those moments, because I knew he was much better than he was actually giving me. I knew he was so much better than that. And now he's one of my head trainers at Reality of Wrestling and one of my favorite people. So that's what it's really about. You got to push these young people these days. You got to really try to get as much out of them as you possibly can. And that's what Reality of Wrestling is. It's not just, pop Warner, everybody get a trophy. No, you got to earn it. You got to earn it, because in life, preparation is the only luck you're ever going to have. It really is. So if you're not preparing all the time, you can find yourself really, really in a bad place. I'm still preparing at 58. I'll be 59 March 1st. And I'm still prepared for what's next.
You gonna have a party?
60. I'm waiting to 60, man. I'm gonna wait to the big 6-0 before I have a party.
Can you invite me and Dave, like the Busted Open crew?
So hell yeah, most definitely.
Like we'll publicize it and everything. We'll get people to donate to a charity of your choice.
Man, most definitely, man.
Whatever you want to do.
Definitely. 60 is gonna be my time to have a party. I've never had a party.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Never had a birthday party.
Now.
When I was coming up, I didn't know what I wanted to be or anything like that. And I found myself in this life now, and all I do is just work and push myself I ask God to give me enough time to finish my work, more than anything. And I'll be happy.
Wow.
Well, God bless you. Thank you so much for the time. At your 60th, Mark, you got to do your stand up at Booker's 60th party next year.
It'll be too many family members there. And I don't do PTA comedy. Like you can't bring the women's auxiliary group to see me do comedy.
No, dog, no, it's gonna be a party, man. You know me, I hang around nothing but young people. I'm the oldest guy on my crew. I don't have a whole lot of young old people around me at all, and that's by design. I'm trying to stay young as I possibly can. I want to, like I say, push myself as hard as I can for as long as I can. And being around these young people, man, they definitely inspire me, man. They inspire me to actually wake up in the morning and keep doing what I do. So I appreciate you guys, man. I really do appreciate y'all for giving me the
Hey
time.
man,
Thank you
much
so much.
blessings and success to you, and congratulations on your success and being a great role model and being somebody that Black people all over the world could be proud of.
Appreciate
And
that, bro.
knowing your story, where it started and where you are now, nobody else has an excuse.
I appreciate that, man. Make sure you put yourself on that list as well.
Yeah, I'll put myself in the people department of it.
Booker, thank you so much, and can't wait to see you back on NXT on Tuesday.
You
Thank
got
you
it,
so
brother.
much.
Thank you guys. Y'all have a good one.